Hey guys, welcome to another Trade Genius podcast. Bob and Phil here. As usual, guys, the consumer is in trouble. We've got a huge problem brewing. We're going to talk about it in this video. Let's dive in.
Trade Genius.
Well, Bob, the hits just keep on coming with the consumer. And this time we've got actually a couple different things, right? We got some more information on jobs that we touched on yesterday. And then also now we're seeing that their loan situation is looking very dire.
Yeah, I wore black for the occasion, Phil. I see you did too. Glad you got the memo.
Yep.
And so before we get into that, I want to talk about the job openings that we talked about yesterday. More information came out today. And because they were trying to tell people job openings are strong, we're telling you that job openings are a mirage. And the report came out today that confirmed that indeed they are a mirage. And the only job openings that are real are government job openings. And if you know anything about getting hired by the government, it'll take you forever to get through. By then, may have a different administration who actually pledged to get rid of 500,000 federal workers. So may not be able to count on that. Jobless claims came in soft today, Phil. And if the job number does what we think it's going to do on Friday, then the report that we did the other day on July versus September might be getting up higher and higher into percentage ranks. TLT's starting to sniff it out, I think, too. And so with that, let's talk about the consumer, because this is the other thing, too. Remember that banks only survive if there's loan growth. And I don't think it helps, Phil, if you have loan growth, but they don't pay it back. I think that's called a problem. And for now, we're hitting default rates that we haven't seen in 20 years. And remember, 2005 and 2006 is really when the cake was baked on the great financial crisis, and things started to really get wonky from there into 2009 with defaults. This time, where I think we're much more fragile. I think people are going to be much quicker to pull the plug. And it's no joke to default. Consumers don't want to default if there's a way in which they can do a workout, and banks don't want to default because they have to write it off their books. But we're at a point now where I think the consumer is saying, hey, you know what? What are you going to do to me? I can't buy a home anyway, can't afford a car anyway, so I might as well not pay you your interest. And it's interesting. I think you and I were talking, I don't know if it bled over to the podcast or not, but people my daughter's age are extremely indifferent to the needs of the government and the banking cartel and the boomers out there. They rather burn it down. And I think, we're going to see that in spades, where people are just going to simply walk away, Phil. What do you say? Hey everybody, it's Bob with Trade Genius. Usually I do fun ads. I talk about our service, but I want to be serious with you for a second. We've been helping a lot of people trading for a long time. As you can see here, I want to let them do the talking for me for a change. But most importantly, we want to help you too. If you've not joined our service yet, come check us out, tradelikeagenius.com. Full service. We have a chat room. We have the algorithms for you. We give trades out every day. We educate you. So go to tradelikeagenius.com. Check us out. What you get out of our service is much, much more than what you put into it. And we'd like to see you in the room. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, if you look at this chart, it's kind of interesting because we've had, in terms of like the last, 14 plus years since the great financial crisis, you've seen a steady decline in this, right? But you have to keep in mind that that whole era from 2008 to, right before 2023 was the low interest rate era, right? And then the Fed started cranking it up. And for you and I, that's more just like mean reversion when it comes to interest rates, because we've seen the economy with 5, 6, 7% interest rates on things like mortgages and whatnot. But this last, since the great financial crisis, has been somewhat abnormal in terms of the length of time that we've seen such low interest rates and federal funds rates. Well, so now they're bringing us back to what historically is normal in terms of interest rates, and the consumer can't take it, right? And all of a sudden we've got consumer loans spiking, and really it's the spiking or the rate of change in this metric that tends to precede recessions, and that's what we're getting here. So historically we're not as high as we've been in the past. However, if you look at the rate of change compared to 2005 to 2008, we're on a similar trajectory. So it's just one other thing here that is happening that tends to come before a recession, among other things such as personal interest payments, which are really, really high. So if you couple that with personal interest payments, we're blowing that metric completely out of the water. This is what you do not want to see when you have something like that as high as it is. You don't want to see the default rates spiking like this. So again, consumers choking out here. And also this is the lag effect from interest rate hikes, because they're not instantaneous. They take a while to kind of permeate through the system. And if you look at also how many people now are putting things on pay later plans, I mean, now we're getting down to even like fast food restaurants giving you the option for pay later. And it's all that stuff is adding up, I think, and we're gonna finally have kind of just that point where the airplane stalls, right? And then you're really gonna see the effects on retail sales and things like that over the coming next 2 quarters.
Yeah, and look, I mean, they took financialization now to the end, and so now it's people ran out of cash flow to cash flow their lifestyle. So now they're going to have to retrench because we know they're not going to make more money. We talked about that before too. Consumers are running negative 3%, net income. So it's a problem, Phil. Look, guys, it's just going to get worse. It's just the front end, and it's already worse. These charts are begrudgingly telling you the truth. Okay, and you're going to see them throwing baby out with the bathwater at the most surprising time because it's in their best interest to not show you this data until they have to. And when they do, they said, let's rip the Band-Aid off. And that's when you get these big spikes. So with that, guys, enjoy happy Independence Day if you're from the United States. And if you're not from the United States and you didn't get a free pass in through the Biden Express, well, you're out of luck. We'll catch you guys on Friday.
See you later.
Trade Genius.